Biohacking is a complicated field with a bunch of voices, extremely many weird futuristic devices, a large list of ancient and modern synthetic chemicals, basically cyborgs, interesting eating habits, sky-high supplement stack lists, extreme temperature exposure, esoteric spiritual practices for health or something, and the list goes on. And yes, this does look very complicated. But hey, I fried my brain with information overload, so you don't have to. Here is my simplified short guide to biohacking. Biohacking as defined as the art of optimizing our biochemical, behavioral, cognitive, spiritual, and electrical inputs. On purpose. This literally includes everything. So biohacking is the everything science, basically. And oh boy, this field goes deep. So basically we can use this framework in order to help us get onto biohacking. Optimization, elimination, and maximization. Basically adjusting the factors that we all do, eliminating the things that are risky for us, as well as adding a couple habits and behaviors in order to maximize the potential of our body. First, there are the basics. Optimizing what we already do, which is simple. We all eat, we all sleep, we all socialize, move, use technology, work, have stress, breathe, think, do spirituality in some form, exist in an environment, and ingest chemicals. That sounds like human life to me, yes. And biohacking is about optimizing all of those things. We all exist as systems, and biohacking is based on that idea of thinking in systems. There exist inputs and there exist outputs. We have everything that we do is either an input to us or an output of us. And we all do these basic things. And for the first step of biohacking is optimizing the basic things of our life. In order of the list, it means optimizing our diet by elimination diets and particular genetic testing in order for us to figure out what diet specifically fits us. There is personalized nutrition for this, genetic testing, microbiome testing, and many other things that we can do in order to improve the quality of the food that we consume, as well as the quality of the water that we consume. It is about optimizing every little bit of calorific potential that we have in consumption of food. It also means the optimization of our sleep for the specific chronotype of ours. There are 4 chronotypes: the dolphin, the bear, the lion, and the wolf. We figure out our own chronotype and we optimize for the quality, the quantity, the regularity, and the timing of the sleep that is perfectly suited for our own cognitive systems. We do that by getting on particular apps as well, or we use an Oura ring for self-quantification on that particular thing. It will be a recurring theme on this. We can also optimize our social connections for positive, conducive, and meaningful relationships. And we can do that by auditing our current relationships, putting them on a list of 1 to 10, and on the basis of how much time we spend in those relationships, giving them equally a quality and a quantity factor. And after doing that, we can quantify those based on their shallowness versus deepness, their goal alignment versus misalignment, and then ranking them based on that information. And we can ask the questions of how can we increase the particular metrics in order for us to optimize the quality, quantity, regularity, and timing of our relationships as well. We can work on this based on the micro moments of affection model of positive emotions and love. We can adopt mindful conflict resolution techniques. We can increase our mental resilience by healing from trauma, by eliciting the help of therapists, and again, increasing quality and quantity, possibly, of our relationships. These are just some of the modalities used in biohacking for this. It would mean gratitude letter writing, forgiveness exercises, mindful connecting with other people, active constructive responding, loving kindness meditation, an acts of kindness intervention, or we can join online communities, top link in the description for ours, or joining a faith community. These are all options for the increasing and optimization of the social factor. We can also optimize moving, or basically exercise. We can focus on our endurance, strength, and mobility, and also aesthetics, as in hypertrophy training, so that we become big, strong, and flexible. This is where usually people on biohacking start an exercise routine, based in either starting with endurance training and continuing with high intensity interval training, as well as rocking and bodybuilding workouts, as well as Tabata training, all of them being possibilities for the improvement of our moving, but also basing these optimizations on our genetics and our goals with movement. There are also very many stretching opportunities for this, including yoga being one of them, dynamic and static stretching for it, working hard in the gym, and also recovering well by the techniques of recovery, particular electrical stimulation or particular chemical stimulation. Both of them being available sources of recovering well as the behavioral factors, like adequate rest. We also minimize sedentary time by standing up from our work every 30 to 45 minutes in order to optimize for weight loss and health as well. It could also improve getting a standing desk or a treadmill under our foot. Or again, as I said, just exercise snacking every 30 minutes to an hour. We can also optimize for the technology usage that we have, thinking in terms of digital applications as well as information consumption that we have. And this is to avoid overstimulating our cognition, preventing burnout as well as negative mental health symptoms. And we do that by cutting back on overstimulating content, both sexual with pornography and non-sexual with fast, short-form content, as well as overly stimulating content, including mine. I'm just a gateway drug onto a better life. And this also means using novel technologies like our phones in order to help us and not trap us. We do that by self-quantification of all factors, from sleep to diet to media consumption. As you might have noticed, the pattern of biohacking is self-quantification. If there are anything that you would want to improve in your life, just measure it. That is basically the principle of biohacking. And that goes from genetic testing to microbiome testing to fitness testing, health testing. It's about gathering data and using that data to optimize the particular functions that we have. Just be aware of its effects on your mental health. Don't obsess over it. Another characteristic of biohacking. We can also optimize our work, which we can do by reducing our multitasking, focusing on deep work, doing time management techniques, possibly Pomodoro techniques and other time management techniques, focusing on the Eisenhower metrics and the 80-20 rule for the optimization of our time, the most valuable resource. It also involves life crafting and job crafting for increasing purpose and meaningfulness of the work itself. And there's also an aspect of stoicism and mindfulness within this aspect, changing what we can and accepting what we can't. It could also include the tracking of our habits as well as gamifying our habits. We can optimize our stress by changing our mindset about stress, thinking about stress not as deteriorating, but rather as something that improves and enhances us. And also by having alone time, winding down at the end of a day, these techniques also being for stress management. We can also become more mindful by starting mindfulness practices like mindfulness meditation, body scanning, and yoga, as well as prayer and study. We can also optimize this part work and stress by work-life harmonization. We can optimize even fucking breathing, guys, by focusing on a nasal breathing as opposed to mouth breathing. We try mouth taping for sleep, nasal breathing whilst exercising. It's all connected. We learn deep breathing techniques for relaxation, like the physiological breath, box breathing, diaphragmic breathing, left nostril breathing for right brain activation, and right nostril breathing for left brain activation. Buteyko breathing, the control pause technique in order to improve our immunity and oxygen input, the Sitali technique, as well as the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And for activation, we can do the breath of fire, Wim Hof breathing, rhythmic breathing, and for other miscellaneous reasons, the holotropic breathing technique. And the list of breathworks goes on and on. If you want to feel stupid for breathing, then just check out the list for breathing techniques. On biohacking, you'll learn that you do nothing right. There are many combinations of breathing techniques as well. Are you keeping up? Because I sure am not. Take a deep breath in. And hold for 4 seconds. Then exhale for 4 seconds. And hold for 4 seconds. Now that we are more relaxed, we can also optimize our thinking by cognitive behavioral techniques mostly, as well as mindfulness training. We can learn to become more grateful by gratitude exercises, also optimizing our brain, rewiring it for positivity. Hope exercises in order to improve this vital aspect for life. This includes the best possible self exercise, as well as values awareness and resilience skills training, like humor. And there are so many more mental techniques in order to learn here, like the SWOT analysis, the what, why, how technique in order to solve problems, the RAIN technique for emotional regulation, the DET technique for emotional regulation, setting smarter goals, having wish outcome obstacle plans for behavioral implementation. These are the ones that affect all of the other aspects of it as well. This also includes mental brain training by improving our curiosity, by downloading an app like Kinu, or by cognitive training or Lumosity. And there are too many mental techniques out there for this. This is a short list of them for psychotherapy, basically. We can also optimize our spirituality. That's also a part of it. And we do that by praying, giving in acts of kindness, studying the Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, the I Ching, and the autumn and spring annals, the Talmud, meditating as well. You can also try Qigong and acupuncture and yoga for the optimization of the spirit. Yes, biohacking also includes finding a sense of purpose, doing Tai Chi, singing hymns. Yes, biohacking does include these things. Pick and choose based on tradition, or just trust your life onto Christ. The best biohacking technique. And these are just the basics for biohacking. These are the lifestyle modifications of what we already do in order to optimize it. But we also exist in an environment. So biohacking also includes the optimization of our environment by getting water filtration for our water. It also includes optimizing our environment against mold, against carbon dioxide, optimizing for oxygen in our environment, as well as the toxins that are all around us in our personal care products, as well as our household. Within this, be in environment part of biohacking, I would also include exposure to nature, as in sunlight exposure, and getting sunlight in our eyes, as I'm currently struggling with, as well as getting out in nature with grounding and earthing, touching the ground. It also includes watching the sun rise and sunset for the balancing of our hormones for sleep, as well as diet. Biohacking is also about optimizing our hormones by also self-quantifying ourselves, realizing our neurotransmitter balances, about which particular neurotransmitter we are dominant in order to optimize our lifestyle for that. Because every one of us has a dominant neurotransmitter, which predispose us to particular lifestyle habits and to particular personalities. Personalities are basically just that, neurotransmitter dominances. You can test it by this test. It is basically a personality test, which are also very good for biohacking. There are many personality tests to try out for biohacking in order to optimize your life around your genetic predispositions, as well as change those, the ones that are not the most conducive to your goals. It is an optimization of your life around your personality as well. Yeah, and also improving our environment is an aspect of this as well, by picking up clothes, making our bed, getting enough ventilation, going outside in the sun more, touching grass, as I said, with earthing. These are all biohacking techniques. Getting a nice environment for us, optimizing this for our personality as well. There is also a long list of chemicals to eliminate from our household and personal care for biohacking. This includes the famous microplastics, BPA, heavy metals, arsenic, phytoestrogens, rancid vegetable oils, and sugars, atrazine and tar, fluoride, oxalates and histamines, depending on your sensitivities as well. Polyester and phthalates. The list of chemicals to be reduced or eliminated is quite a long list, and also depends on your genetic type and personality. It's unreal how many chemicals we unknowingly consume without being aware of their effects on our health. Biohacking is also about optimizing our hormonal health, as I said, testosterone, which we do by detoxing from estrogens, as well as by doing the previously mentioned habits of exercise and healthy eating. Many of the chemicals that I just mentioned here of that long list are to be eliminated because of its effects on our hormones, particularly testosterone, or our thyroid health, or because they are leaking our gut. It's also a possibility. And some of these chemicals might also be fogging our brain, decreasing our mental acuity and performance. And we haven't even gotten to the electrical aspect of biohacking, just the chemical ones. Like, for example, bad electricity might also be one reason to look out for on optimizing our environment. This includes EMFs, Wi-Fi at night, Bluetooth, or our phones in our pockets. That's an actionable step. Take your phones and don't put them near your genitals. Not a good idea. Your children will thank you for this. And if you think that the list of chemicals and devices for elimination is a long list and might be a little too much, we haven't even gotten into the additional chemicals and devices that is on biohacking. Just wait and see the supplement stacks and therapies and devices that are used for brain enhancement and hormone enhancement. From fucking cryo chambers to infrared saunas and red light therapy, neurofeedback and binaural beats, cold showers and biomats, photobiomodulation, and electric muscle stimulation, hypobaric oxygen therapy, hydrogen therapy, Brown's gas, pulsating electromagnetic fields or PMFs, compression gear, gravitation cables, KATSU and blood flow restriction devices, Aura rings, ketone monitors, continuous glucose monitors, floating tanks, trampolines for limb circulation or something, oxygen restriction devices for training, not to mention the more basic training tools of sliders, medicine balls, foam rolling, kettlebells, X3 bars, weight vests, and etc. basically. Biohacking also improves some uncomfortable habits like cold water immersion for many benefits, of course, or hot-cold contrast, thermogenesis. Have I lost you already with this quite extensive list of additional devices? Just you wait. I haven't even gotten into the supplements yet. This list is quite comprehensive for the supplements that we can take to improve our brain, hormone, and body health. But let me give you some of the honorable mentions, which is creatine, the best research supplement on the market. Essential amino acid supplementation, fish oil supplementation for omega-3, magnesium, zinc, CLA, tryptophan, the one that is responsible for serotonin, the hormone that is for contentment, lion's mane, curcumin, turmeric, ginger, even cinnamon fits within this frame. St. John's wort, for some learning and chill, it would be ashwagandha, gorukola, ginkgo biloba, shilajit.
Oh my god, why is he black?
Black ant extract, L-theanine, taurine, and a lot of L's here. And this is not even to mention the Chinese stacks that are available for supplementation, or the Ayurvedic medicine stacks. You can look out for and get a supplementation for improving basically anything, whether that be a natural compound or nootropic, or a smart drug, similar but synthetic as well. And then there are the obvious, which is caffeine and nicotine. They are the most usual nootropics, so I don't really have to introduce them to you. They are the staples of the modern diet, and combined, they can have a greater effect for enhancing mental acuity. Just like about microdosing LSD, psilocybin, DMT, and many other psychedelics for enhancing creativity and cognitive performance. If not that, at least for mental health conditions. They might be beneficial for those at least. And not to mention the many other synthetic drugs that we use to improve our performance, which includes Ritalin and Adderall, among other things like opioids, biohacking. And there you go. It is still a simplified guide for biohacking, and I still haven't mentioned so many things it's unreal. This is just to get a little feeling into how biohacking works in its depth. I told you that it would not be complicated, but it is. It is absolutely complicated, and even a simplified guide is going to be not very simple for biohacking. As I said, it's the basically everything science. I'm not saying that we should consume all of these. It would not make any sense in order for us to do that. I'm just mentioning some of them as potentials for your enhancement. But what even to walk away from this with? Basically, none of the information was retained in there. Just apply from this list of chemicals, supplementing with what you need and what you lack. The opportunities for development are endless, and I'm just getting started into it. But stress not, young man, because that is not beneficial for your biohacking either. Stress not about not comprehending my tried summary of around 2,000 pages of biohacking. We can all start with the free and inexpensive ones. We don't have to go immediately into the Chinese stacks and Ayurvedic medicine clinics and into the ayahuasca retreats. Just try out the free ones, and if they merit continuation, continue. I recommend testing first with anything, and if you do plan on implementing any of this, do so carefully. Consult a physician if you may need. Don't take my words for granted either. Research it on your own. There is so much to learn on this topic, and it would be a shame in order for you to not learn about many other possible opportunities for personal development. If any of the techniques mentioned in this video merit your focus, it would be the discovery of purpose. Apply them to your purpose. That is the most important biohack by far. It is purpose on its own. It orders everything else on this list. And its discovery was the greatest biohack for me. It determines which of these biohacks are worthy of your attention and intention. All the other biohacking techniques are worthless without this unifying biohack. Everything falls in line when you have discovered your purpose, and that is not to mention all of the benefits of purpose, which fall into the biohacking category. It improves our health behaviors. It improves everything on the list to be improved for on biohacking. It might feel overwhelming without purpose. Without a purpose, all of this information is useless and just simple information overload. I just wanted to demonstrate the necessity of purpose in the context of biohacking. It is the unifying factor for a great life. Biohacking is just the method by which it becomes possible. Join our school community about becoming more purposeful, which includes biohacking. It's the top link in the description. Click and watch the video on the screen, and remember to waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. And just be one. Thank you. Biohacking is weird though.